This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In California, a 37-year-old immigrant from Cameroon died Tuesday after he fell ill in an ICE prison. In a statement, ICE said the man, Nebane Abienwi, became partially paralyzed after suffering a brain hemorrhage in the middle of the night at Otay Mesa Detention Center. ICE says he was rushed to a San Diego hospital but died after undergoing treatment. The immigration jail is operated by CoreCivic, a for-profit prison corporation. In a statement, Elizabeth Albeln of the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice said, quote, "The ongoing loss of life in immigration detention is not only heartbreaking, it's infuriating. There's a bill sitting on Governor Gavin Newsom's desk right now waiting to be signed that would ban private detention like Otay from California. People in detention cannot afford to be behind bars a second longer. Newsom needs to sign now," she said. Albeln was referring to the bill that California lawmakers passed last month banning private prisons statewide in a major blow to the for-profit prison industry in the U.S. We're joined now by Hamid Yazdan Panah, an immigration attorney with the California Collaborative for Immigrant Justice. You were seminal in the shaping of this bill. If you could start off by explaining just what this bill exactly says.
Yes, so this bill actually sends a very clear message that people are not commodities and that the state of California values people over profits, and that corporations should no longer be allowed to profit off of the incarceration or the detention of California residents.
And it has been passed by both houses in the California legislature?
Yes, it has.
And what is the governor's intention here? What do you understand? He has yet to sign it, but it was just passed.
Yeah, we expect the governor will do the right thing and that he'll uphold the campaign promises that he made. He did state during his campaign that he would seek to end for-profit prisons in California, and we expect him to continue to do the right thing with respect to this bill.
So what does it mean? What would happen in California? How much of the California prison system and immigration jail system is run by for-profit companies?
Well, so as it stands right now, there are 4 major private facilities that house detainees in the immigration context in California. Those facilities are operated by large for-profit entities, and those facilities would no longer be allowed to renew their contracts. A number of those facilities actually are, rife with immigration abuse. One of those facilities, the Adelanto facility, is actually the second deadliest facility in the entire nation. And so what will essentially happen is that these facilities will no longer be allowed to continue their contracts. And hopefully it means the end of for-profit immigration detention in California.
So can you talk about this latest death and how it fits into this picture?
Yeah, one of the reasons why for-profit facilities are so problematic is that they don't have the same degree of transparency and accountability that you would expect from an institution which deprives people of their liberty. And so we've seen over and over again that these private facilities don't care about medical conditions, they don't care about transparency, they don't care about accountability, and they treat people essentially like commodities. They're incentivized to do that. That's their entire business operation, is to treat people like commodities. They don't care about, conditions across the board. And so this bill very squarely sends a message that California will no longer allow this practice to continue. And the deaths that we've seen are a direct result of a combination of horrific policies by this administration in the context of immigration detention. Immigration detention as a whole is needless. People do not need to be detained in the context of immigration and civil proceedings. And to add to that, the for-profit detention of immigrants is abhorrent. It's morally reprehensible. It's something that in 10 to 20 years from now we'll look back on with complete disgust. And I think this bill is the first step in ending that.
The first death at an ICE jail in this fiscal year just occurred yesterday at the Otay Mesa detention facility in San Diego, the 37-year-old man from Cameroon. It's the 9th death this year. Almost 200 people have died in ICE detention since 2003. If you can talk about, and immigrant rights groups are calling now for an investigation, of course, into this death. If you can talk about how this connects to the ICE detention facility facilities. The overall picture with for-profit prisons. ICE has contracts with for-profit centers, particularly the GEO Group, that are supposed to expire this year. Will the bill prevent these contracts from being renewed? But start off with the particular Cameroonian man who died yesterday.
Yes. So overall, within the context of conditions, like I said before, the private facilities lack transparency. The Attorney General of California actually has a mandate to be able to investigate the conditions of these facilities, and they were actually denied access in their initial inquiry into the private detention facilities in California. So again, we've seen that there's a lack of accountability and transparency in these facilities, which lead to things like deaths in detention, people suffering. And so this bill, again, will remove the for-profit incentive from these companies in running these facilities, and hopefully that results in less people being detained within the context of these for-profit facilities, and overall less people dying in these facilities.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being with us. Of course, we'll continue to follow this and whether or not the governor signs this ban on for-profit prisons. Hamid Yazdan Panah is an immigration attorney with the California Collaborative for Immigrant Justice. That does it for our broadcast here in San Francisco. We'll be here again tomorrow. Nermeen Sheikh will be speaking tonight in Ithaca, New York at 7 o'clock. Check our website at democracynow.org. Democracy Now! Is produced by Mike Burke, Dina Guzder, Nermeen Sheikh, Carla Wills, Tammy Wormanoff, Libby Rainey, Sam Alcoff, John Hamilton, Robbie Karen, Hani Masood, Tarina Nadura, Taymarie Astudio, Maria Taracena, and Dennis Moynihan. Mike DeFilippo and Miguel Noguera are engineers. Special thanks to Becca Staley and Miriam Barnard, Julie Crosby, Hugh Grant, David Prude, Ishmael Dara, Vesta Godars, Karl Marxer. I'm Amy Goodman here in San Francisco. Thanks so much for joining us.